The Jedi High Council was a body of 12 Jedi Masters tasked with governing the entire Jedi Order. The council made important decisions regarding the training of Padawans, as well as deciding when an apprentice would undergo the Jedi trials in order to advance to knighthood and later the rank of Master. The High Council also enforced the Jedi Code and typically selected their own 12 members. They would also later take a leadership role as the Clone Wars raged across the galaxy. There were actually 4 distinct councils within the Jedi Order. All 4 met in chambers located on the 4 towers of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, with the Tranquility Spire in the middle. The Council of First Knowledge oversaw matters requiring ancient Jedi wisdom, as well as the Jedi Archives and Temple's curriculum. The Council of Reconciliation was charged with settling interplanetary disputes. The Council of Reassignment organized work for younglings not chosen to be trained as Padawans. Finally, there is of course the Jedi High Council, which will be the focus of today's video. So just which Jedi of the tens of thousands in the galaxy were selected to sit in those pristine 12 chairs? Let's talk about it. First, a quick little disclaimer. With some of these Jedi, it's a little fuzzy as to when exactly they either joined or left the council. We're doing our best with the canon we've been given as of Tales of the Jedi's release. But still, things do get a little spotty, especially with the more obscure Jedi, and as to who replaced who on the council. To also make things a bit easier, we won't be touching on the High Republic era, aka hundreds of years before the prequel trilogy, simply because a lot of that content is still being written. With that out of the way, let's get into every canon Jedi Council member from Tales of the Jedi through the prequel trilogy and the Clone Wars, leading into Order 66 and the Great Jedi Purge. Beginning with the newest addition on our list, Master Katri. She was a female Miralin that served on the council prior to the Phantom Menace. She was killed on Raxus Secundus by a group of security droids, prompting Count Dooku and Mace Windu's investigation in Choices. Master Yoda needs no introduction. Not only did he sit on the Jedi Council, but he held the rank of Grand Master as the oldest and wisest member of the Order. Prior to the Clone Wars, Yoda, along with the next entry on our list, Mace Windu, both at one point also held the title of Master of the Order as the elected leader of the Jedi Council. Eventually both titles would be consolidated as one and remained with Yoda. We won't spend too much time with Yoda since he is one of the more well-known Jedi, but he of course served on the council for hundreds of years prior to the Phantom Menace. He was revered for his wisdom and power, having trained generations of Jedi. He would survive the events of Order 66, going into exile on Dagobah, learning how to become one with the Force from Qui-Gon Jinn, and passing his knowledge on to Luke Skywalker, dying of old age at 900. Mace Windu was seen by many as Yoda's second in command. The male human took the seat of Master Katri following her death, and remained on the council until he met his own demise. Windu was of course the user of a very rare purple lightsaber, and mastered powerful abilities like Vapod and Shatterpoint. Although one of the most powerful Jedi, his biggest weakness may have been just how strictly he followed the Jedi Code, as well as how much of an influence he had in Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side. Mace was killed by Palpatine after Anakin cut off his hand, becoming one of the first victims of the Great Jedi Purge. Plo Koon was a Kel Dor trained by a rare Wookiee Jedi Master named Tyvaka. Koon wore a mask and goggles to filter the air around him, so it matched his home planet of Doran. He was the Jedi who discovered a young Ahsoka Tano, bringing her in to be trained. Plo Koon led the 104th Battalion, or Wolf Pack, alongside Commander Wolf during the Clone Wars. At one point he was able to track down the crash site and lightsaber of the late Jedi Master Sifo Dyas. Plo Koon served on the High Council up until his death during the events of Order 66, when his Jedi starfighter was shot down by Captain Jeg's ARC-170 in the skies of Cato Nemodia, the home planet of the Trade Federation. He was also known to be the favorite Jedi of Clone Wars creator Dave Filoni. Depa Billaba was a human native of the planet Chalacta, and former Padawan of Mace Windu, before going on to be the master of Caleb Doom or Kanan Jarrus. She served on the council during the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Balaba was not seen in the Geonosian arena, but at some point during the early days of the war, got into a skirmish with General Grievous, her clone battalion suffering 90% casualties, and Balaba herself was placed in a coma for 6 months. This forced her to step down from the council, although she would return afterwards, but eventually stepped down for unknown reasons prior to Revenge of the Sith. During the final days of the war, Deba Balaba and her Padawan Caleb Dume led the Battle of Kalar, their forces pinned down prior to the arrival of their reinforcements in the form of Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch. Just as Dume and the Bad Batch prepared to launch another counteroffensive, Order 66 was issued. Clone Captain Grey and his men fired upon the Jedi General, who would sacrifice herself in order to save Dume, allowing him to survive and join the rebellion as Kanan Jarrus. Koth was a Iridonian Zabrak, the same species as Maul, and served on the council since before the Phantom Menace. He participated in the Battle of Geonosis, and sometime later was captured by General Grievous in a battle over the planet Seleucami, before being rescued by Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Adi Gallia. Koth would later step down from the council and leave the Jedi Order entirely. He would go on to have a wife and daughter, becoming a priest. Following Order 66, Darth Vader would track the former Jedi down, killing him and abducting his child for the Empire's Project Harvester. Yarael Poof was a male Quirmian who, like Yoda, served on the council for hundreds of years, even back during the High Republic era. Poof died on an unknown mission prior to Attack of the Clones. Behind the scenes, he was replaced as to avoid confusion with the similar in appearance Kaminoan cloners. He's probably best known for his run in the Star Wars Robot Chicken parody episodes, when he's tasked with bringing up pizza for the Jedi Council. He returns to the aftermath of Order 66 and goes on to become a chef in the Empire, serving bisque to Vader and Palpatine. Adi Gallia was a female Falathian born on Coruscant. As mentioned, she aided in the rescue of Koth from General Grievous. Later in the war, she would accompany Obi-Wan Kenobi to Florum, the pair facing off with Darth Maul and Savage Opress, the latter claiming her life by impaling her with his horns. Oppo Rancisis was a Thisiasian master who, like Yoda and Poof, served on the council dating back to the High Republic era. He was known to be one of the wisest Jedi Masters of his time. He was present for several key council meetings, and alongside Quinlan Vos, led the siege of Seleucami during the later days of the Clone Wars. Rancisis actually survived the initial Jedi Purge, appearing on a list of survivors that the Grand Inquisitor presented to Darth Vader. Evan Peel was a Lannic who at some point lost his left eye. During the Clone Wars, Peel was assigned a dangerous mission in the Outer Rim, where he and his captain Tarkin would discover information about the Nexus Route, a key hyperspace route which extended between the hearts of Separatist and Republic territory. Desperate for the information, Peel was captured and imprisoned at the Citadel prison by the Separatists. A task force led by Obi-Wan and Anakin came to the rescue, but unfortunately Peel would be killed during the escape, passing along his information on the Nexus route to a young Ahsoka Tano. Yaddle, the female of the same unknown species as Yoda, is someone we recently learned a lot more about through Tales of the Jedi. She too sat on the council for a long time prior to the Phantom Menace, and apparently trained Oppo Rancisis. Yaddle stepped down from the Jedi Council off-screen before the end of the Phantom Menace, deciding to take a less active role in Jedi affairs. She would notice the turmoil within Count Dooku following his apprentice Qui-Gon Jinn's death at the hands of Maul. Following Dooku to the works and watching him meet with Darth Sidious, Yaddle would confront Dooku and offer him compassion, but it was too late. Dooku would cement his fall to the dark side, marking Yaddle as his first Jedi kill. Ki-Adi-Mundi was a Syrian, a rare and nearly extinct species which had 2 brains. Other than Yoda and Windu, he is the only other Jedi to have a speaking role in the prequel films. Mundi often stuck to both logic and the Jedi Code, having a hard time believing that the Sith returned or Count Dooku had fallen to the dark side. Not only did Mundi participate in the Geonosian arena, he also helped lead the Second Battle of Geonosis, even authorizing the use of flamethrowers. For peacekeepers, the Jedi really did commit so many war crimes. Mundi was the one who originally expelled Ahsoka Tano from the Jedi Order when she was suspected of bombing the Jedi Temple hangar. In Revenge of the Sith, Mundi raised his concern about the Separatist attack on the Wookiees. The final days of the war saw Mundi lead the Battle of Megiddo. When Order 66 came down, he was leading a charge across a bridge before Commander Bakara and a squad of Galactic Marines stopped following and opened fire. Mundi was able to deflect a few shots before ultimately going down. Rounding out the council at the time of the Phantom Menace is Saesee Tiin, a Yktachi male. Tiin participated in the Battle of Geonosis and was known to be a skilled lightsaber combatant and starfighter pilot, perhaps second only in the cockpit to Anakin Skywalker. He was also known to have natural telepathic abilities superior to most other Jedi. Tiin accompanied Mace Windu and 2 other Jedi that we'll get to, becoming one of the first victims of the Great Jedi Purge. We now enter Attack of the Clones territory with Coleman Trebor. The male Verk took the council seat of Yarael Poof after his passing. Trebor participated in the Battle of Geonosis, making the unwise decision to jump up to Count Dooku's platform in an attempt to end the war before it even began. Trebor was quickly gunned down and killed by the bounty hunter and clone template Jango Fett. Shaak Ti was a Togruta, the same species as Ahsoka, who took the council seat once held by Yaddle. She participated in the Battle of Geonosis in Attack of the Clones. After the onset of the war, Shaak Ti was tasked with overseeing the training of clone troopers. Her compassionate views often clashed with the more ruthless outlook of the Kaminoan cloners. Shaak Ti may have been the closest Jedi to uncovering the secrets of Order 66. One clone trooper Tup's inhibitor chip malfunctioned, and he was brought to Kamino along with ARC Trooper 5s. The biggest mystery surrounding Ti, however, has to do with her death during the Great Jedi Purge. It seems the canon answer is that Anakin Skywalker killed her during his raid on the Jedi Temple. The scene was cut from Revenge of the Sith, but is referenced in a vision in the Clone Wars. Another Episode 3 deleted scene had her killed by General Grievous during the first act of the movie. We also have to mention her Legends death at the hands of Starkiller, or it'll inevitably be brought up in the comments. Now into the Revenge of the Sith editions. Stas Ali was the cousin of Adi Gallia and took her seat on the council following her death. She too participated in the Battle of Geonosis. Ali was known to be more skilled with Force healing, becoming a member of the Circle of Jedi Healers, and at one point oversaw the Medical Corps. In the final days of the Clone Wars, Ali and Clone Commander Neo led the 91st Mobile Reconnaissance Corps on Seleucami. When Order 66 came down, Neo and another clone fell behind Ali on their bark speeder bikes, opening fire on the Jedi Master. She was killed instantly as the speeder exploded. Kit Fisto was a Nautolan Jedi Master, known by fans for his dashing smile. I had a hard time confirming, but I believe he took the seat of Coleman Trebor after his death. Unlike Trebor, Fisto did survive the Geonosian arena and went on to fight in the war. At one point, he and his former Jedi Padawan, a Mon Calamari named Nadar Veb, were tracking Viceroy Newt Gunray, but ended up at General Grievous's lair. Fisto is actually able to hold his own against Grievous, thanks to his mastery of Lightsaber Combat Form 1, Shi Cho. Given Fisto's species were able to breathe underwater, he was one of the generals who led the Republic's campaign to liberate the underwater world of Mon Cala. Fisto, like Saesee Tiin, accompanied Mace Windu to arrest Chancellor Palpatine. He was able to last a few seconds longer than Tiin, becoming the third victim of the Purge after Darth Sidious sliced him across the abdomen. Coleman Kaj was an Angry Jedi Master. It's unclear whose seat he took on the Council in Episode 3. Oppo Rancisis is absent from the council, but we know he survives past the Purge. Maybe he had just stepped down. Very little is known about Kaj, other than the fact that he is often confused for another Jedi named Pablo Gil, who appeared in Episode 2. Kaj did actually survive the initial events of Order 66. Seen on that list of survivors, the Grand Inquisitor shows Darth Vader. However, he would eventually be found and killed by the Inquisitors. His body can be seen by Obi-Wan Kenobi 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, left in a petrified state in the Fortress Inquisitorius. Agent Kolar was of the same species as Eth Koth, later taking his seat on the Council. Kolar fought on Geonosis with a green lightsaber. His Padawan Tan Yuster died in the battle. Kolar took his blue Kyber crystal and used it moving forward, paying homage to his fallen apprentice. He was the very first victim of the Great Jedi Purge, being caught off guard and stabbed by Darth Sidious. What's there to say about our last two entries that hasn't already been said? We all know Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan Kenobi was trained by Qui-Gon Jinn and took the seat of the deceased Evan Peel. Kenobi was a legendary Jedi and the true master of lightsaber combat form 3, Sorisu. He of course trained the Chosen One Anakin Skywalker before his turn to the dark side. After just killing General Grievous, Kenobi was targeted by Commander Cody and the 212th Attack Battalion as Order 66 was enacted. He of course survived, turned Anakin Skywalker into Darth Matt.
As in, what do you call a guy with no arms and no legs laying on the front porch? Matt. Darth Matt. Okay, it's okay. We're gonna make this all better.
And went on into exile to watch over Luke Skywalker before the events of Kenobi and the original trilogy. Finally, we land on the last person appointed to the Jedi Council, Anakin Skywalker. Anakin was not chosen by the Jedi to sit on the council, but by Chancellor Palpatine, which the Jedi did not like, hence they refused him the rank of Master. But again, what more can we say about Anakin? We all know where his fate lies. This video was more to highlight the lesser known members of the council. But who was your favorite of the more obscure Jedi on the council? Let us know in the comments below. Also, do tell us if there are any other Jedi you'd like to see us go over in a future video. As always, thank you so much for watching and may the Force be with you. Red 5 standing by.